Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to create the new file name that we want to call the file. So we're going to do this. One thing I've done first is I've created a predefined variable here called dot. It's just all I did was put full stop, like a full stop symbol into there, and give that cell a name of dot, which I just it was called E4, but I just typed in dot up there to make it simpler. Now what I need to do the next bit, all I need to do is tell it that I want to use a formula called, so start the formula with equals, and type concatenate, and then we want to obviously have the number here, and then now if you're using certain versions of Calc, you have to use a semicolon next to split the lines to go on to the next variable you want to add. Some of them you actually have to use a comma. It depends. I know in Excel it's always a comma, but OpenOffice decided to do it a bit differently. So if you try it with semicolon here and it doesn't like it, try it with a comma and it will work. Try it if you try it with a comma and it comes up with error 508, you need to put a semicolon in. And then, so we've got the first part of the file name, which is number 1. Now we've got a choice. We can either have the rest of the file name, or we can have just the extension. So we could have it as 1.mp3, 2.mp3, 3, and so on. Or we could have 1 the prodigy-breathe.mp3, 2 the prodigy-jericho, and so on. Now, so if we go for the full bit, all we'll do is tell it to join 1, which is in column C1, in cell C1, with A1, and then we want the dot, which is, so if we just type dot, because we've named that cell now, so it knows that by typing in just dot, it knows that we're referring to the dot, and then the extension of the file, which is in B1. And then we close the brackets on that and we press enter, and what we'll see is we've got 1 the prodigy-breathe.mp3, and that's the file name we actually want to end with. Okay, and again with this one we can do copy and paste that formula all the way down, and if you have a look now, we've generated the new file name. I just left a line that you can actually see there separate. You got the 1 the prodigy-breathe, 2 the prodigy-jericho, and so on. So there's the new file name that we want to call it. Okay. Now the next bit, we move into the next column for this bit. What we want to put here, just make sure you got it all. Is some of the variables that we'll be using. One of them is we want to put the start of what we want to do, which is REN, and then a double quote. And the next bit we want to do is just double quote space double quote. And then the last one is just a single quote, and we've also done the full stop here and called it dot. Now again, we can name these. We can take Ren, and we can give it the name of Ren. Give that one the name of DD quote, so in double quote, and then give that one as just D quote. Okay, it just makes it a bit more easier for later in a minute when we actually add the two together. Now, so okay, so that's our variable setup. Now we need to add all these together. So what we need to do now is we need to go back again and use the concatenate function in the F column, and again in concatenate. Now this time we want to concatenate firstly Ren, which is what's in E1, the Ren double quote, and we want to concatenate it with the old file name, which is A1 dot and then the extension, and then we need the double quotes, so dd quote, and then we need the new file name, so that's in D1, and then for the end we just need the one double quote, so we'll just use double quote, and then if we press enter and we got it right, we should end up with the entire name to actually transform one file name to the other. I'll have a look at that. So what we've got here is ren the prodigy breathe.mp3 to 1 the prodigy-breathe.mp3, and it's all surrounded by double quotes. That's where we were using the double quote. So there is that, double quote space double quote, and the single double quote on the end is there. You can actually just manually put them in there, but it's much better to actually have them here, because then if you want to change anything up here, you can always change it up here, and you know everything will change. Now all we need to do now is again copy, oops, and fill down for all the copy and paste for all the file names in the folder. If we have a look at that, you can see we've got ren the prodigy Jericho to 2 the prodigy Jericho. Yeah. Now, of course, I did say you could also do it without that first bit of file name in. If you just want it as one, just take out on this formula here, just take out A1 and fill down. And if we have a look along here, we can see that it'll rename the prodigy breathe to 1.mp3, Jericho to 2.mp3, and so on. So it's got rid of the first bit of the file name. Okay, if that's what you want to do, and of course you can keep going on down, however many files you've got, and that's all automated. Now the last bit that we use this for now, Calc, is just to copy the entire F column. So if we right click on that after we've selected them all, click copy, so we've got them now in the clipboard, and then we'll move on to the text editor. Okay, here we are in the text editor, Notepad++. You can use Notepad for this if you really want to, but Notepad++ is a lot more nicer, and it seems to give you a lot more options, and it's just as free as Notepad. Well, Notepad's not free actually, it's included in Windows, but yeah, Notepad++ is free, and it does have a lot more options in it than the standard Notepad. Now all we've got to do in this one, it's very simple, is we right click on here and we click paste. So we're pasting what we've copied already from the spreadsheet previously. Now if we look at what we've actually pasted here, we've pasted on each line ren, to rename it, the prodigy-breathe.mp3, 1.mp3, which is exactly what we had in each shell, but now it's actually just all in a line, all in one, like all in one, all one line. And this is what a batch file does. A batch file will basically run like as if we were typing in that black box. It will do exactly the same thing, but it's all automated now. So the first thing it will do is it will run the ren command, which is to rename, and then it will pass it the argument rename the prodigy-breathe.mp3, and the second argument is 1.mp3, which with rename it's the original file name to the new file name. Okay, and then obviously it carries on and it does it all the way through. Now, so what we need to do now is we need to actually save this document. So if we just file and save, and we go and find the folder where where them files are. So we must obviously put it in the folder where the files are. So we go to desktop and the Prodigy, that's where all our little files are that we want to rename, and we call this one this time. We call it we can still call it Renumber. You know, we've got a Renumber there, but instead of it having the extension .txt, we type in .bat, and we click save. Now the handy thing with Notepad++ is it does actually have colours. It like colours the text when it knows the type. So as we've called it a batch file, it knows it's going to be a program you're going to run. So what it's done for us is it's highlighted this ren command all the way down to tell us this is so you can see quite clearly this is the command we're going to run, and this is the rest of it. This also works with other the good thing with Notepad++, it actually works with all sorts. Also it does recognise a lot of different languages. Like at the moment it's in batch mode. You could tell it is C++ or HTML or all sorts of stuff, even PHP and stuff like that. But mainly at the moment we're concentrating on the batch file. So now we've saved this, we're going to go back to the main folder to start the renaming. Okay, so now we're back in the Windows Explorer window for the folder we saved the thing to. So we can just go on there, desktop, and then into the Prodigy, or wherever the file is that wherever the files are that you want to rename. What you'll notice now is that you've got that renumber.txt file in there, and you've got all these files here, obviously. But we've also got this this extra file here, which has got like little cogs in it, kind of like a machine to work or something. I know we can go into the command prompt again and just like run it from within the command prompt if we want to, but with Windows you can actually just double click on it and Windows will actually run it. Like it will open up a quick black box, the black box will it'll do something and the black box will disappear, and you'll find that it'll have done whatever was in it that you asked it to do. So if we double click this now, we will see that all these file names will change to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. There we go. It does take about a second or two for Windows to actually update, and that's it. That's 7 files renamed quite rapidly. This is about the only way you can do it. You can sequentially rename files that I know of. There may be a better way of doing it, but this is the only way I know of, and it does actually work, and it's not exactly rocket science to do. Yeah, okay, anyway, thank you for watching this little video on how to rename files quickly. Yeah, okay.